So, Katie, we're back here in Connecticut ahead of perhaps the biggest fight of your career so far.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm just so excited about this fight. Obviously, this is a fight that everyone has been talking about for the last few years now. It's a fight that I've wanted over the last couple of years as well. So it's great to see it actually happening right now, and I'm excited about it.
And tell us about your opponent. Who is she? What does she bring to the table?
Yeah, she's obviously a great fighter. Obviously, Amanda Serrano, she's a 7-weight world champion. She's one of the biggest names in women's professional boxing for a while now. And yeah, it's gonna obviously we're gonna obviously match up to be a great fight. As I said before, this is the fight that everyone has wanted to see for a long time now, and I'm excited about it.
Is this a fight that you've actively been pushing for?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that I've wanted the biggest fights in the sport, and this is why I'm involved in professional boxing, to be involved in these big mega fights. This is my responsibility as a professional fighter to want the big fights, the big names, and so this is one of the fights that I've always wanted. So it's great to be in a position where we're here now, where the fight's actually happening. Everyone's very excited about it. It's been dubbed the biggest fight in female boxing history, and this is an incredible opportunity for both of us.
And obviously, Amanda brings a lot of caliber to the table, but the reason it's the biggest fight in women's boxing is as much because of you. How proud are you of where you've taken the sport thus far?
I'm very proud. Obviously, in 5 short years being involved in professional boxing, I'm coming to a stage where I'm actually involved in the biggest fight in female history. This is a history-making fight, and I've always wanted to be a history maker in my sport. Even from the amateur days, I've always wanted to make history, and here I am in the professional game. I'm just about to make history again, so I am very proud. But obviously, my mind is completely focused on this fight ahead. My mind is completely focused on winning this fight, and I really am looking forward to seeing the best of me, and looking forward for everyone else seeing the best version of me as well.
What would you say is the biggest achievement of your career thus far? Is it belts? Is it undisputed? Is it the way that you have perhaps brought women's boxing into the mainstream?
I think it's hard to pinpoint just one achievement, but I think just seeing the growth of women's professional boxing over these last few years, I'm very proud of. I think when I first started out as my professional career, we didn't really know how this journey was going to go. We weren't sure how people were going to. Just the perception of women's boxing at the time, I wasn't so sure of, and just seeing women's professional boxing right now, where some of the household names you're actually seeing are actually female fighters, and I like to think that I had a big part to play in that, and I'm very proud of that. I'm obviously very proud of becoming an undisputed champion as well. That's the pinnacle of professional boxing, holding every single one of those belts, and becoming an undisputed champion in Madison Square Garden as well, and such an iconic venue. These are stuff that you actually dream of when you're a kid. When I first laced a pair of gloves on my hands as a 10-year-old.
So you mentioned Madison Square Garden. The biggest fights need the biggest venues. Serrano is a New Yorker. She's a Brooklyn girl. What do you feel the crowd's going to be like in the arena for the night?
I mean, I think at both times I've actually boxed in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, the atmosphere has always been electric there. There's such a special feeling in an arena like that. You can almost feel the iconic moments there when you're actually boxing. So there's obviously a huge Irish contingent in New York as well. I think it's probably going to be 50-50 really. There's going to be a lot of Puerto Ricans there, a lot of Serrano's fans, but also a lot of Irish people there as well, which is going to make for such an amazing atmosphere. Both passionate fans, and yeah, I'm really excited about the prospect of fighting in Madison Square Garden again in the biggest fight in women's boxing history.
And the fight itself, Amanda is she's a lot of experience. She has got a lot of knockouts on her record. What is the biggest danger that she poses to you?
Yeah, I think she's obviously technically sound. She has that experience as well. She has probably a bit of power, but I feel like I have all of that as well. there's not anything really that I'm particularly worried about. Everything that Amanda brings to the table, she is very, very experienced. She is very, very talented. She obviously is a 7-weight world champion. At the end of the day, you don't achieve that sort of stuff if you aren't talented. But there's nothing really in particular that I'm worried about. The fight, I'm obviously stepping into the ring 100% prepared. I think I have a absolute brilliant team of people around me. I face some of the best in the world already as a professional boxer, and then obviously in the amateur game as well. So I don't think it's anything that I've never seen before. I've faced some incredible sparring partners over the years as well, just top quality guys. So yeah, I'm going to be obviously ready and prepared for whatever comes my way on fight night.
She says that 135 isn't her ideal weight class. She's coming up to face you to take that challenge. There must be some respect there as a fellow fighter for what she's trying to achieve, I guess.
I mean, she's obviously fought up until light welterweight division, so she is big. She's as big as me at the end of the day. I can't say that I have any more respect for her because she's stepping up and down the weights. This is a fight that people want to see. She's not a small lightweight by any means. I feel like we're probably the same size, and so yeah. I mean, I respect her for her boxing skills, but I can't say that I have any more respect for her stepping up in weight.
She's also said that you need each other for this fight. Do you think that's the case, or do you feel like you're more of the A side than she's a sort of equivalent B side?
I mean, this is genuinely is a 50-50 fight. I think. I don't know. I never even step into the ring thinking I'm the A side or the B side, but I am stepping in the ring every single time, believing I'm going to win the fight and preparing to win the fight at the end of the day. So, I think our styles will definitely match up to be an exciting and a fantastic fight. I think it's obviously dubbed as being the best fight in female history, and I think the fight itself is going to live up to that name. So we'll see, obviously on fight night, but I know for me that this is the most excited I've been for a fight in a long, long time.
What kind of fight are you expecting on the night?
She's very, very aggressive. Obviously, she comes forward, she lands big, heavy shots, and I definitely don't shy away from a fight either. So I'd probably stand there a bit too much, but it's going to be a very, very exciting fight, that's for sure.
And obviously the question is, how do you see the fight going? Where do you see yourself winning?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to win the fight, but I obviously see myself winning the fight. I never ever step into the ring thinking I'm going to lose a fight. My mentality is I obviously have a winning mentality. I always have. Since I laced up the gloves as a 10-year-old, I've always wanted to win, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to actually win the fight. And
where would a victory leave you? I mean, I guess at that point, is there any argument that you're not the pound-for-pound #1 women's fighter?
I mean, I'd like to think that would be the case, but that's obviously very, very subjective as well, isn't it? People have Clarissa Shields or Amanda Serrano, myself. Even in the men's game, Canelo, Terence Crawford, Lomachenko, it's very, very hard to separate the top people, but it's definitely nice to be in that conversation.
And then finally, is this the legacy fight for you, or are there further fights that you want that would kind of leave your career to be exactly what you want it to be?
I think this is definitely one of the legacy type of fights. Is a career-defining fight, I think. I think if I retire right now from the sport, my legacy is obviously in place right now, but I feel like this is definitely one of those career-defining fights. And this is what makes me so excited about these kind of fights. These are the kind of fights I've always wanted. I think there's obviously going to be plenty more fights in the future as well, but right now my mind is just completely focused on this one ahead.